Whether you're watching your favorite NBA team at the arena, the bar, or hanging at home, grab an ice-cold Michelob Ultra and enjoy every moment of the NBA season. Stock up today and watch your team drop buckets with a bucket full of ice-cold Ultra. Michelob Ultra. Superior light beer.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2026 Anheuser-Busch. Michelob Ultra. Registered light beer. St. Louis, Missouri. Must be 21 plus to order alcohol. Alcohol available only in select markets.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You know those friends who support your preference for podcasts over music on road trips? That's the energy State Farm brings to insurance. With over 19,000 local agents, they help you find the coverage that fits your needs, so you can spend less time worrying about insurance and more time enjoying the ride. Download the State Farm app or go online at statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online, and a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business, you'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
Mornings have a rhythm. You can hear it, feel it. And at Quaker, we fuel it. With 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber in every bowl, helping you turn that rhythm into your soundtrack for a great day. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go! Let's go! My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
All right, welcome in. We are the Kansas City Soccer Journal. My name is Cody Bradley. I've got Thad Bell and Robert Russer here. And we are bringing in an expert on U.S. soccer to help us cover this. We're all still kind of in a dreamlike trance from last night here in Kansas City, the Argentina opener against Algeria. We've got here with us former Nat, former Wizard, 17 years as a coach, or 26 years total with this club of Sporting Kansas City and the Wizards, currently with the youth national team of U.S. soccer. We have Kerry Zavagnin. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, hey, Kerry, this is Thad. Oh, you know who I am, but
This is Thad. Nice.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do that. I guess like one of the first conversations we want to have is, what did you think about the U.S. Performance against Paraguay in their opener this World Cup?
I mean, in a very simple statement, it was amazing. You know, I remember the opening game for the U.S. back in '94. I bought a ticket, one ticket, drove to the game, sat around the 50-yard line where tickets were a lot cheaper at that time, and watched the U.S. play the opening match. And to think 32 years later, to put in a performance like that, it was truly remarkable. I can't say it was overly surprising because we all knew or we all felt or hoped that there would be this injection of energy with the home crowd advantage, and you saw a little bit of that with Mexico. But the performance met the emotion, the environment perfectly. And I think to kick off the home World Cup, you could not have asked for a better start. Maybe outside of the Pulisic little pull up at halftime and the one glitch on the goal. But overall, what a start to the tournament.
What do you think is their strengths in this going forward? I mean, they obviously, like you said, they had a great game. They fed with the home crowd. They've been playing well for the most part, and it's like trying to get all those little pieces fitting together. What are their strengths going forward?
Well, I think it's a combination of a few things. One is, you know, that they've developed and they're a reflection of their manager with Pochettino, who I know was very critical of the American landscape, and potentially something for us to reflect on. In that we play the game, but to compete and to compete at the highest level, I think he got the team right. He got the emotions right, and so that was one of the huge pieces of why they perform so well. You can't deny the fact that with the best players on the field, which I think we were very close to having, it's a tremendously athletic and dynamic team, and I think it just overwhelmed the Paraguayans in this game. And if they continue in the same vein, will overwhelm a lot of teams athletically.
Yeah, Kerry, you've been a part of a lot of club teams that really use the press and the counter press. Is that the best counter pressing you've seen in a while? Because that was pretty incredible.
Yes, I think that was one of the key reasons why we got off to such a great start in the tournament. Obviously, scoring a goal and being very forward thinking in the beginning of the game led to the own goal. I think within the first 7 minutes, but the ability to control the game in their third, and as you said, to counter press and to win the ball back quickly. I think it set the game up for goals 2 and eventually 3. But it was control from the very first minute because of that, and it's something that is going to be very important going into the next game.
Carrie, of course, you were at that game in '94, the opener, because you're just a staple of soccer in our country. And speaking of other staples of soccer in our country, the Reyna family. What do you make of the resurgence here of Gio Reyna, or maybe not, but the beginning of the resurgence of Gio Reyna? What are your thoughts on that whole saga and how he's come full circle here?
Well, I think he's an example of a young player that has matured and is maturing, and that's pretty typical of young players as they go through. His first World Cup being at the age that he was, exposed him to the pressures of it. But I think what we saw in the last game is he's put a lot of that behind him, and is truly playing for the team. And what you saw from the 82nd minute, a glimpse of what's to come with him in this tournament. I think all the signs point for him having a very productive and effective tournament for this team.
We spent a lot of time lamenting that whole saga and kind of admitted we were maybe done with him, but that outside the foot and that celebration, you could just see the relief coming off of him, and yeah, that was a great way to cap off that game.
It surely
Yeah, I
was.
think I think the next step there, guys, is the counter pressing that we did, the work off the ball that we did. Can he do that as well? Yeah, if he sees longer time on the pitch, he may not, but I think that's the next step to see if he's going to work as hard as everybody else was.
Yeah, if he comes in the last 15 minutes of every game and scores a goal, I don't care if he presses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
If it's working, keep him hungry off the bench. He's gonna be foaming at the mouth in the 70th minute every game.
Yeah.
But hopefully, we're up, 3-0 or whatever every time he comes in, right?
Yeah.
We'll take that.
So another key player, Christian Pulisic, you kind of mentioned that knock. It seems like they're just being very careful. He's kind of inching his way back, more active each day. But in that short time he had, Carey, he had a look in his eye, as confident as I've seen him. He really does seem rested and in the right mindset finally.
There's no doubt, and if you want to if you're looking to peak, now's the time to peak. And I think a lot of when you look at World Cup cycles and the lead up to World Cups, whether it's the United States or any other country, there's so much made into the lead up, whether it's the losses in March that you think, here we go, it's going to be a terrible tournament. A lot of things happen to the build up to a tournament that don't really mean anything. And it's when the
Yep.
first whistle blows on game one, you find out what you're made of. And looking at Christian Pulisic, a lot's been made of him as one of the generational players, one of the best players in U.S. history. And if you look at the other night, he delivered. And so a big compliment to him, the rest of the group. But the way that he worked on the left side with Robinson, Paraguay had no answer to that. And so fingers crossed he's healthy and he's ready to go for the next match. All indications, if you read between the lines, are that he is, because the U.S. and we're going to need him if we're going to go far in the tournament.
Yeah, I would almost rather him not play if it was any question though, just to make sure he's healthy for the knockouts.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line there because you get so euphoric about the first result, you almost are punching your ticket into the knockout round, and you need to caution against that because
Hmm.
one bad day, one poor moment, Turkey had 30 shots with 72% possession, they lost 2-0, and that can happen in any one day. So can't take anything for granted. You can't rest the players that you think maybe in the next
Right.
round until you've punched your ticket. And I that's why I think he'll be on the field for this next match.
Yeah, and you mentioned Turkey. I'm not sure. Australia might be the one to be nervous about there. So yeah, that's a valid point. So, Kerry, as a midfielder, I'm interested what you think of this crop of midfielders. We got a lot of talent in there. Even some people coming off the bench in MLS. You like to see that. Yeah, who do you like in our midfield?
I think Tillman had a wonderful game,
Hmm.
and between his ability, both physically and technically, to impact the game, he was a monster. And Tyler Adams, I think those of us that have been around through MLS and have watched his career, and his captaincy in the last World Cup, he is the epitome of winning in the trenches, and so he displayed that again in this game. And I think between those two guys, there's nobody really in the tournament that's going to push them around, and that's a really good sign for us that to have that stability in midfield. And I think it's a great example with Sebastian Berhalter, somebody that's come up through the American system, has worked his way up, has fought extremely hard after being relatively unknown outside of his last name in the early years of his career. And for him to work the way he did and has and to earn the confidence of the coach speaks a lot of the American player, the mentality, and certainly for him, being a reference point for the rest of the team in that center part of midfield. So, really good group of guys through there. Really excited to see what they do the rest of the tournament.
Kerry, when Berhalter came in, McKinney kind of had more of a free role and maybe, had a better half that he did in the first half. Thoughts on that? You think McKinney can work well in with these guys and play his best, be his best self?
Yeah, I think it's a balance because in the first half, Christian was giving the width in the game. Christian and Antoine were alternating between giving the width. And, in the second half with Tillman kind of pushed in that position, his natural tendencies are to be more internal. So we didn't get as much width or effectiveness on the left side. And it impacted McKenny's game a little bit. So with more space to operate in, more space to advance, I think with him operating in a free role is where he best suits. But I think in the first half, where Paraguay really, I think, struggled was their ability to cover the width of the field. Their
Mhm.
central defenders connecting with the outside backs, and it created a lot of seams for multiple players to go through. And McKennie did an extremely good job of penetrating in those areas.
I know in the lead up to the World Cup, we debated who should be called up to the roster, hundreds of times it feels like. How do you feel Poch did in the roster that he put together? Did he miss somebody? Would you have called somebody up differently?
Yeah, I think it's really tough to critique from the outside because
Yeah.
it's a dynamic group, right? How they connect, how they operate internally is as important of what their individual qualities are externally. And so that's why you only have the half part of the equation when you're critiquing it from the outside. But if you look at the first game and the indications of whether he picked the right group, I would say he 100% did. Because if they continue along that vein, um, they're going to make a lot of noise in the tournament.
But Kerry, if Tyrell Adams goes down, what happens?
It goes back to player availability, right? And it's as important of, you know, injuries coming into a World Cup, what players are available. Fortunately, if I'm not mistaken, the best pool of the players were available. They weren't injured. I think Chris Richards made a remarkable recovery and a great performance considering he had been out for so long. And so when you factor him into the group, I think Pochettino had, access to every single player. And so that's what you want going into the tournament. If one player goes down, I think, look, if Pulisic goes down, if Balogun goes down, maybe you have Pepe, but it changes the group, it changes the dynamic. And so fingers crossed you can maintain health across the board because that's what it takes to go deep in a tournament.
Yeah. Speaking of the attackers, though, it's how fun has it been to watch these guys in this last game? But even against Germany, it was a good attack. They didn't win that game, but the game against Senegal, the attack has been really very dynamic, very fluid, very entertaining.
Kerry, I'm
Yeah.
calling it a world-class attack. I don't know how many teams that includes when you say world-class. World-class attack. It's so much fun to watch.
It is, and I think if the message was right, and we're hearing this externally that the coach said go out and play like kids. Boy, did we see it, right? And
Yeah.
and I think it's a simple message. It's one thing just to say go freestyle. It's another thing to have a plan in place, a structure in place, but at the same time giving the green light to really go enjoy yourselves. I think that's what we saw, and it's a really difficult balance to navigate, and I think the coach and the players hit 100% on it.
Yeah, you could see that so viscerally in some of those plays that they were just playing free and open and as kids, as he kind of said. Like Pulisic splitting those defenders, Balogun on that second goal. That's just they just realize that they're great players and better than these guys in front of them.
Yep.
So yeah, let's take a break and then we'll come back and talk more about Pochettino.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Where is Daredevil? I'm right here. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated,
We're gonna take this city back
over medicated.
in an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
Pace Checkout is offered by your banks and credit unions. So when you shop online at participating merchants, your cards appear in one place, ready to use and kept up to date. And the best part, your actual card number isn't shared when you check out, because boundaries are healthy, like no work emails after 6. One small step for boundaries, one big leap for checkout. Pace, it checks out. Activation required. See Pace.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
We don't take very long breaks. All right. We're back. Yes, more on Pochettino. Kerry, I spent many years, 17 years as a coach yourself. I'm interested to hear you talk more about how what he's kind of unlocking here. You mentioned the that he's picking the right players. I love that story that someone showed him. Actually, I think it was one of the billionaires that kind of paid the money for him to come here. Told him he needed to watch the movie Miracle, and it just really spoke to him and this just the American sports culture and all that. And a huge part of that movie is that coach saying, "I'm not getting the best players, I'm getting the right players." And yeah, I really think so much of this credit that we've seen these players that we know are good, and we've seen them for 7, 8 years now, knowing how good they are, and it just hasn't quite been unlocked. And I'm giving a lot of this credit to Pochettino.
Well, he deserves it. Obviously, we're saying that right now after game one, but the team was ready for the World Cup, and certainly they met the moment, and a lot of the credit should go to the coach. I think what was intriguing and really interesting, and I think what I was hoping as someone that's been in the environment for so long and have seen and felt the Argentinian environment is that he brought a lot of his DNA and the experiences that he's had around the world into this group. And as I was referencing earlier, a lot of the time we get confused the idea that we're playing the game and we're trying to outthink and out tactic the game, and find solutions. And he restored the passion and the winning mentality within the group. And it took a little bit of time because I think there were some games along this trek of his that he had to break them down to build them back up. And I think we're seeing that peaking at the right time. So all the credit to him. I'm not overly surprised that he was able to do it because his name and what he's done as a coach commands that kind of respect. And I think the players have followed him, and that speaks to his ability to bring a group together and to manage them, and like I said, to have them peak at the right time.
Kerry, Cody and I have been watching the HBO special chronicling 2022 to now, and after the U.S. Had lost a match, Cody witnessed Poch crying as a result,
Oh.
and he said, Cody declared that we are going to win the World Cup.
Well, it came, I think I saw that night that I had just seen people talking too much about what he's going to do after, these other teams sniffing if he's going to stay after the World Cup, questioning his passion. And then I see him. He was coach of the team for like 3 months at that point, and he truly bawling, heart couldn't speak in the locker room because of the passion he has for this game. And yeah, that lifted me up. I needed that right before we kicked off.
And I know you guys were at the game last night, and on TV for sure they were, when they were showing the national anthem, there are Argentinians, young, old, and everywhere in between that had tears in their eyes. And that is the passion that we're talking about, not just for the country, but for the game and what that represents. And I think as you're alluding to him after 3 games, with the team, to have those same feelings about competing is exactly what this country needs. And so it's why you know, that combination of, as I was referencing, the player profile, the athleticism, the determination, all of that, when you combine that with the passion and then you get a country behind it, you can do so much more and accomplish so much more. And we're seeing that right after game one, that we're all excited about where this team can take this tournament.
One of the interviews that Sebastian Berhalter did this week, people asked him about Pochettino, and he basically, one of the quotes he did is Pochettino had said that we're Americans, we don't take shit.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like Pochettino's like the perfect blend of Argentinian and American at this point.
Yeah, and I think, look, it's a great time for him to come along with the conversation that, is it developing the player? Do we have good enough coaches? Do we create the right environments for the players to be successful? And he comes in and he just reminds us of what's made us strong all over the years that maybe we forgot.
A
And that
foreigner did.
that has been the case. It's been the hallmark of not just our teams, but the country. And it's really refreshing that somebody comes in. They said, "Hey, don't forget who you guys are." And I think it's a great reminder and something that hopefully we take beyond this World Cup.
Kerry, I'll get to the point here in a bit, but I'm going to make a reference. The feeling at Arrowhead last night reminded me of about 2004 circa Wizards. But at that point, Bob Gansler, the coach, Bob Gansler was the coach during. He took over a rough time for the Wizards and raised you guys to a level where MLS Cup was won. You made the U.S. Open Cup. You made MLS Cup again in 2004. So on the scale of, motivating and doing things like this, where was Bob Gansler?
Oh, he was a pioneer, right? Obviously, just taking back a few years from that, he brought a bunch of college kids to the World Cup and qualified the team for the first
Yeah.
time in, what was it, 40 years. And so his ability to bring a group through the World Cup process and cycle to qualify them, college kids, mind you, and then come into Kansas City and take a team in '99 that was, bottom of the table, turn around and make them, MLS Cup champions. I think that was another moment that you saw of a great manager and a great leader rallying a group, bringing them together and really focusing on the things that create winning groups and teams. And um, he was excellent. He was excellent in those years. He came in with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, having been left out of MLS in '97, '98, '99. And so he, along with the rest of the group, had that chip on their shoulder, a little bit like, the players within the national team right now that they've been touted as the best generation, and then they've been knocked down, and they walked into this first game with a little chip on their shoulder. And so I think there are some similarities with group dynamics that you can see within both groups, and again within the managers of being able to do that. Bob was outstanding during those times.
That leads me to a question. Well, go ahead, Cody, if you want.
Well, yeah, Kerry, you're talking about the mentality there, and I think there's an interesting dynamic here of this World Cup when you look at Pochettino versus his predecessor in Berhalter of their styles, where Berhalter's kind of the friend, like he's their best friend and vibes guy to help these young guys, and I think there was a time where that was great for them, but Pochettino is just so immensely different. The competition level he created, the professional level he brought in. So I just, as a coach yourself, I was just interested in your opinion on those two different philosophies and compared to your style.
Well, I think, and you guys watched the documentary, and Pochettino had a great statement there that he's talking to the players. You guys are the ones that are going to determine whether I'm a good coach or not. And it does go back to the player, and we can't forget that in 2022, when you're talking about Greg, of the work that he did to bring that group through the group phase and actually have success. And I know there's different viewpoints of how he did it or what he should have done differently, but he brought the program along. He laid the seeds for this group, to flourish as we're seeing right now, to arrive in a more mature way. And so it's passing the baton. It's not, this guy did a better job than that guy. They both had an impact on this group and the performance the other night. And
Hmm.
so it's not minimizing one or the other or saying one is so much greater. They both contributed to it. Now, the credit will go to Pochettino, and we've been talking now lately about what he brought in terms of mentality. And I think there's something to be said for that. But Greg also brought a tremendous amount of structure, which you need, organization and insight and innovation to the program that can't be discounted and shouldn't be discounted. And so both need to exist if you're going to have a great team and a great program and a great cycle. And I would give, compliments to both of them.
Yeah, I really like that answer and I think it's almost like the stars align. Like, however angry someone might be at the Berhalter tenure, I think it was just so perfect that that's what they had, and then this is what they had coming into this World Cup, and then the change happened so late, and they just needed this in this exact time, and I think it just complements so well.
Yeah.
Part of that having that perfect moment, which we don't know if it's a perfect moment yet. I mean, they're one game into a World Cup, but is having that generation of players that have been together for a long time, and like you said, having Berhalter help them mature, and Pochettino maybe taking them to another dimension or level. But they keep being referred to as a golden generation, and this always sets off Cody, and I've joined him in this a lot, that we don't want to call it a golden generation because we just want to call this the generation that this is the next generation. The next generation after that is probably going to be better because of how much growth we've had in US soccer that I mean you've seen from scratch essentially all the way till now. Do you kind of see that, like how much bigger is this pool going to be? How much better are the national team's gonna be going in the next cycle, the cycle after that?
Well, if I and we are thinking optimistically, it's going to be 10 times better. And eventually we're going to win a World Cup, right? And we're going to start
Yes.
in youth World Cups. We're going to win an Olympic medal, right? We'll get a gold medal. Like, this is the idea that we've all been striving for. And we want it to happen right now. And we want it to happen today. And the reality is it does take time, but there's been an incredible amount of progress over the years that we can't overlook that. And we also can enjoy and celebrate the first match in that being a defining moment in where we are as a country in the game. Now, we could go lose the next two games and the narrative will be that was terrible. That was a fluke. It's not a fluke. It's the progress of the game in the country, and we hope that we can validate it through more great performances in the tournament and have something to talk about of how far we've come, you know, in terms of how far we go in the tournament. but this is part of the growth of the game. And we all, right, all of us on the call and everyone that's participated in the growth of the game, um, have a part to play in that. And that's Pochettino, and that's Berhalter, that's the golden generation, and that's everyone else. And we are stewards of the game, and we hope to put it in a better place so that one day we will win the World Cup.
Well,
This
Kerry,
is our first generation. That's what I'm saying here, Kerry. It's the first one. This is the first crop that was born in a footballing nation with the systems and logistics in place to find, identify, nurture professional players. This is the first group, and 12 years from now, it's going to be even better.
but Kerry, do what you can
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
us
and
win the World Cup a little faster, because Thad and I are not getting any younger.
Yeah.
believe me, I would love to do it in a couple of weeks, right? But I think you know, if you look at the tree, right, and the generations that have passed through, more players, more fathers, more grandfathers have played the game at a very high level, and we really don't have to look much further than the current roster with both Gio and Sebastian, right? Their dads played together in 2002, and at that time when the team made the quarterfinal, we thought, "Ah, we're just around the corner. It's coming, it's coming." And now you see the offspring now being part of the World Cup, that many years later, 24 years later, and that's how it works, right? And now they're going to go on, they're going to have kids, they're going to be that much better, more invested. And maybe one day we'll all cry when we hear the national anthem and we win the World Cup, and we'll have that passion for the game.
So, how do you think
Somebody will have to
Zinedine
wheel me out there for that game.
How do you think Zinedine Zidane
Fair.
feels after last
Me
night's
too.
game, guys? How do you think he's feeling?
Ugh. I can't believe that's his. That's nepotism, right? Should that guy be out there? Is he actually the best goalie in that country? I don't know about that. That seems like
Oh,
nepotism. But how great was
guy.
that? The stars were out last. I couldn't believe Zinedine Zidane was there. That was so great to see.
It's
Okay,
amazing.
we're gonna take a quick break and come back. I've been kind of stalling talking about Australia, but we're gonna have to get to it. I'm nervous about this game. We'll be right back.
Yep.
Comcast is delivering extraordinary experiences in live sports. Through the incredible broadcast and storytelling from NBC, innovative and personalized viewing features on Xfinity and Peacock, and the country's most reliable Wi-Fi, viewers can enjoy every game-changing play faster and more seamlessly than ever. All on a network built to deliver unforgettable moments as close to live as possible. The ultimate experience for the American sports fan. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/sports.
This summer, soccer is here, and so are the watch parties. And Uber Eats has your game day essentials covered with 30% off orders from Aldi, Kroger, and Dollar General. Everything you need to keep your crowd happy, delivered straight to your door. Chips, dips, fresh ingredients, and more. Order in so you can lock in for the games. 30% off your grocery order, only on Uber Eats for a limited time.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Hey guys, today I'm interviewing my cat about his perfect bistro food. Percy, you seem to be a big Perfect Bistro fan. Care to comment? Totally. What do you like about it? You love the high quality ingredients? And the delicious flavors, of course. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Listen to Percy, guys. Visit perfectbistro.com to try it for your cat.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Okay, the Aussies coming up on Friday. I've got the day off, Juneteenth. How perfect is all this lineup? 2 p.m. on Friday. I'm pumped for this game. I'm very nervous for this game. Kerry, I saw that first one. They got two very fast, athletic, strong players up front, and they put them both up front and start them up front. And our defense, if there's a weak point, that's maybe the question at the moment. Speed seems like the exact thing that it would make me nervous coming up against this back line.
Yeah, and there's no easy games in the World Cup. I know Germany would argue with me on that, but there really are no easy opponents in the group. And Australia, I think, has been a little bit overlooked as we came into the group was revealed. It showed that yeah, Australia, we can beat them. But I think there's a big reason why we saw in the first game of why we should take this game very seriously. They are very strong in their transition to attack. They defend with spirit, with organization, and with everything. And so those are difficult teams to break down. Bob, you said it at the top. You know what was great about this first game was the counter pressing and the organization when we lost the ball, and it never really exposed our back line and some of the deficiencies that are certainly there. And so for us to get a positive result out of this game, we're going to have to be equally or even better in those moments of transition. And really, it's going to be a difficult uh, prospect to break them down. Over the course of 90 minutes, it'll be as important not only to find good scoring opportunities, but to counter their counter, to see if to catch them in their transition, if we can win the ball and go the other way and get in behind them and penetrate them quickly. So it's going to be a difficult game. But what I will say going on our side is we have a tremendous amount of momentum as well. We have a home crowd, and if we can leverage that into the game, we're also a very difficult opponent for Australia coming into this weekend.
Yeah, Kerry, see if you agree with my thoughts here, but it seemed to me that Turkey, they set up similar to us in the midfield. You know, they had their wingers playing high, but as the game went on, their width, maybe due to frustration, maybe due to desperation, just they seemed to get more narrow with their play and really were their own worst enemy in the buildup and really helped out Australia, I thought.
Yeah, and I don't think that is, and of course, I don't think that's an intentional approach. That's just the
Yeah.
byproduct of a low block that protects the middle of the field. And when they do that, either you need to use the ball to draw them out, and use the wide areas to draw them out to penetrate. But if they don't come out, right, you have to put now more numbers centrally, and so it's a cat and mouse game and a very difficult opponent if they're not going to come out and really pressure you. To break them down, you have to be very creative, very innovative. The timing has to be right. You need to get numbers in the box, which is why I think the best solution is for sure to put pressure on them, for sure to try to get in behind them, for sure to get numbers in the box, but when they break, when they counter, that's when they leave numbers ahead, and it's less numbers to now penetrate. And so it's countering the counter. It's being effective and efficient in possession, certainly in the midfield. It's taking our set pieces in the right way, and certainly that's going to be a big part of this game, both attacking and defensive, which is always the case in tournament formats. And so we're going to have to be on in every moment of the game. But I agree with you on your assessment with Turkey. But again, that's the byproduct. When you get 30 shots in the game, you have 72% of the possession. It says a lot of where the game was played. It doesn't tell you a lot of whether you were effective with it. And that's what the final score did.
It seemed even when Turkey A did penetrate and get to the end line, they seemed to like try to they didn't play back the cutback very often. They had guys in the box for the cutback, but they always seemed to go more lateral and maybe even attempt a shot from that angle. And I was just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, there are spaces, there were spaces and moments, and I would expect the US to try to capitalize on that for sure.
It does seem like a lot of the games this year so far where a lesser known team or lower ranked team has frustrated the higher ranked team. It hasn't been in every case, but there's been a lot of good games where teams have overachieved and got a draw, and it's been because they have been compact and organized, and you know every roll of the ball, every play they've been in it. So that's how these teams are staying at least competitive in the World Cup right now, trying to get to the knockouts.
Yeah, and look, I think that's when you're a lesser country that has lesser talented players on the field, it's really your only right
Yeah.
strategy going in, and so I think international play when you look at set pieces and transitions, those are the two things that usually decide the game. Certainly at as the teams advance. Possession is great. Spain is great at it. There's not a lot of time to really develop a clear, concise style of play. It's more using the strengths of your players in a tournament format, and that's why transitions, good organization defensively, excellent in transition is usually the recipe. And we saw that with Morocco, right? With Brazil and Morocco. Cape Verde, even in today's game, with Portugal tying the lesser teams, and you're absolutely
Yeah.
right, are able on the day to withstand a lot of pressure. But I think the powerhouses will emerge out of the groups.
And let's bring that full circle, Kerry. Mentality. I think Turkey kind of stepped on that field thinking we're better, we're more talented than they are, and it just seemed to show in their play, in my opinion.
Maybe, and I wouldn't want to get in the head of the Turks or speculate on that, but
Yeah,
certainly when you look at Turkey, I'd almost reference Australia more
yeah.
because what they were committed to, they made it difficult to play, and I wonder if any other opponent on the day would have had as much of a problem getting through them. If you score a goal early, like the U.S. in the 7th minute did in their first match, I think that maybe draws them out. But you go 60 minutes in, 70 minutes in, even or even down a goal, that's going to be a very difficult opponent to break down.
Absolutely.
So, Kerry, what else have you been liking about the World Cup? I know you just mentioned that Portugal game. Man, how about Ronaldo? He had the chance to step up. All the talk last night after Messi and Holland and Mbappe was, what will Ronaldo do? And then he did nothing.
Yeah, look, I think overall, just a blanket statement of the World Cup, and a lot's been made of even the transportation last night and
Hmm.
ticket prices, and a lot of complaints about what this World Cup isn't or the problems that it has. I'm looking at the tournament and watching these matches, and it's just incredibly entertaining. And I
Hmm.
know I'm biased, having been in the game for so long, but when you look at 18 million, 19 million people watching the US opener, I mean, the game is growing. And I think, the stadiums are, majority of them have great attendance, and we're going to see more of that, especially as the knockout rounds come. And so I think so far it's kind of lived up to what I hoped it would be. And in Kansas City, when you look at the match last night, Messi with 3 goals. I mean, it's got to be a dream for the city to have that kind of experience with that kind of star power. And look at what the whole day transpired yesterday with Holland and Mbappe. This is what the World Cup is about. So I'm incredibly excited about it. I know you guys are as well. Really looking forward to each day. Although I am getting tired just sitting in front of the
Yes.
TV watching.
You mentioned that 18 million, KC, the highest rated market. How
Yeah.
insane is that? Thank you for the Knicks for playing and taking that out. I wonder what that number would have been if the Knicks weren't going for a championship that night.
Well, it's amazing. But I don't know if it's an incredible surprise considering the support, and you've seen the visuals, power and light in the last World Cup.
Yeah.
There's a there's a soccer culture here. I think you guys all know it, that has really grown over the years, and what a testament to 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 the community and the city, and in the numbers that were shown on match one.
All
I've
right,
been keeping
Kerry.
my eye on Major League Soccer. You mentioned that game last night. The first goal, MLS to MLS, DePaul to Messi. And then today you had Petar Musa, who has just destroyed Sporting KC in the past. He got a goal today against England. Like, it's there's just so many things to like about this.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
Kerry, I have to ask, you have a lot of former teammates, peers doing announcing, doing commentating. You have a favorite out of the group?
Oh gosh, it'd be it,
Or,
it'd be
anybody who does a podcast.
Oh, it'd be hard to
Oh,
nail down. I think what's great about it is, and this I was touching on this a little bit earlier, is as the generations go by, more people that have played the game are now involved in it, and I think people that are commentating on it, whether it's podcasts, interviews, commentary, roundtables, I think it's great that everybody is having a voice on their perspective of the game, their experience within the country, and you know, I know former players had criticized the team coming into the tournament, and they have every right to, because they have the experience and the expertise of being in the space. But I hope as the tournament goes on, as the team had proven in game one, that there's something to get behind. And I think we're all realizing that. And from a commentating perspective, it's okay to be critical, but it's also okay to be a homer.
All right, Kerry, will Zlatan and Thierry Henry take out Alexi Lawless by the end of the World Cup, or is he going to survive?
I'll tell you what, I think Oguchi on Yewu should be next to Lex if Zlatan goes after him. So I think he'd have something to say about it. But yeah, it's a great dynamic to watch, isn't it?
It's entertaining, and that's why they're there, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a great pairing, Zlatan and Thierry Henry. That's just such big personality there. Love those
For
two
sure.
together.
For sure.
Okay.
Right.
Well, Kerry, thank you very much for joining. Thad, thanks for setting this up. It's always good to get the old friends around, hanging out and talking. Notice how I kept saying old for Thad and Robert.
Older.
Older, yes. Right.
I accept being old, man. That means I've lived a long life of doing a lot of fun things.
You're fine wine. Fine wine, Thad.
That is right.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but we'll
So,
we'll take
Kerry,
it.
are you springing for tickets in into the later matches, the quarterfinal, anything like that?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm kind of couching and looking for the moment for the match to go to. And I know
Mm-hmm.
to have a round of 32 in a quarterfinal match here is incredible and something that I'm looking forward to. And hopefully, maybe mortgage my home to see if I can scrap one of those tickets
That's right.
in the quarterfinals.
You don't get a discount as a former national team player?
No, unfortunately, no.
Yeah, it'll be hard to top last night, but the quarterfinal and those elimination games just bring a whole new level. So, yes, Kerry, thank you very much for joining, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
No, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Were the red and the white and the blue and